3. And we're live. Greetings and salutations. I'm Moonfalf Neverborn, the abyss that slumbers. You're listening to Eldritch Rants, and we've been having problems for the past 2 weeks. And ironically, I moved to the backup Discord, and everything got fixed. Dun dun dun. Maybe it's part of the big conspiracy that they're trying to shut down all conservative. No, probably, I don't know. It's probably just something I screwed up a while ago. But at any rate here, so we're going to be taking it simple and easy to see if we can get the system to work without imploding like the past 2 weeks. And so we're going to jump straight to the topics. Hey, Jacob, how's it going? Before I get going, anything in particular you guys want to bring up to rant about?
Not really.
Aside from the fact that I had to drive to 4 different GameStops to find the special edition of Life is Strange Before the Storm. But that has nothing to do with anything that we normally talk about, so.
Yeah, Jacob, it's weird. I said, hey, you know what? I'm just going to try the backup channel. Everything works fine. I'm not quite sure what's going on, so. Anyway, moving on. As usual, we do things in alphabetical order by the title, but in no particular order. ACLU sues Trump administration to stop family separation. Dun, dun, dun. They claim that Donald Trump is deliberately separating immigrant families and sending the, women and the children to different locations. The lawsuit follows the action the ACL took in the case of a Congolese woman and her 7-year-old daughter, who the group said was taken from her mother's crying and screaming and placed in a Chicago facility. Now, right there, I got a problem. They sent him to Chicago. Oh, dear God, they must hate these people. While the woman was released Tuesday from a San Diego detention center, the girl remains at the facility 2,000 miles away. Now, here's my issue. The part that we don't...
Detention center.
Yeah.
Detention center. That doesn't usually mean that they've come here legally or they're here on good terms.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you right there. But here's part of what I'm thinking is, you might be wanting to reunite this family, but maybe, I don't know, the authorities said, hey, stop beating your child, or stop pimping your 7-year-old daughter. We don't know what's been going on and whether or not this woman even deserves to have her child returned to her. So,
that's exactly right.
So, you know what? I really don't know what the ACL, if they want to know something else, but the very sentence is, the woman got a 25-day sentence in jail. So do you send a 7-year-old child to jail with her? I'm sorry, but if you're breaking the law and you go, I've got 12 children. Yeah, I know I broke into a bank and I killed 3 people and you guys have captured me, but if you send me away to jail, it'll cause unnecessary hardship to my 10 children. Do we give that guy one iota of empathy? No. So that's my position. Any thoughts on this?
The fucking with the immigrants and all this kind of stuff. Usually, when you hear the word detention center, that usually means that they've come to your country illegally, and your immigration mob's just trying to figure out whether they're going to deport you or let you in. So she's already come illegally, and they've separated the kid. Now she's obviously done something wrong. Now, people doing things wrong in these detention centers is not unheard of. They used to do it to us all the time. And yes, we've had abused kids, and we've had kids that have been pimped out by their parents inside of these detention centers. You had parents that couldn't give a rat's ass about their kids, and their kids were being fucking taken off by other members of the people who are in these detention centers, dragged off to some other back part of it where no one can see, and then they're just being used as a fucking sex slave. And this was happening for a good long while in our detention centers before the guards started cottoning onto it and actually started actively looking for this kind of shit. So, yeah, I'd love to know the circumstances of how the mother got here. I'd love to know the circumstances on why she was in a detention center. Subsequently, also being charged and put in a proper jail. I'd love to know all of those circumstances first before I decide what I'm going to do with that fucking kid.
Any thoughts, Drew?
I mean, if you're in a detention center, odds are you deserve to be there. They very rarely send people there who don't deserve to be there.
Well,
I get, I'm all for reuniting families and stuff, but maybe there's a reason that the parent was there and the kid wasn't.
I can see
Yeah.
how to reunite them in Mexico or Congolese or wherever they came from. They could be reunited there. You want to come here illegally, and you don't get to stay together. See, my problem is I think this is like a foot in the door scenario. We need to keep these families together. If you agree to this, then you agree to keeping families together when the child is back in the other country. You know?
Just real quick on the whole definitions and all this kind of stuff. A detention center is not jail. A detention center is merely basically a government hotel where we stick people that we don't know what to do with just at this present moment. They haven't necessarily done something illegal. They might just, fucking mistook the day that their visa ran out and got to the airport and they're the day late. It doesn't necessarily mean they've done something wrong. Most of the time, if they're in a detention center and they're an immigrant, usually means that they've got there illegally, which means that they haven't gone through the correct processes and all this kind of stuff. Now, they haven't actually been arrested and charged, and they're not actually criminals whilst being in a detention center. They're just being detained. It's the part where the mother's actually gone to actual jail on top of this. That's the concerning part.
Ah, well. Moving on, just a note there that it just stood out to me as something odd today. Billionaire Mark Cuban gets hit by the Trump curse, accused of sexual assault. Now, I'll sum up the article for you real quick here. Basically, there's a lot of really rich people who have been trying to slam Trump, and however, for some reason, apparently the act of attacking Trump draws a lot of attention to them, and then invariably they discover all the charges of sexual assault that they paid people off in the past to cover up. I don't know if it's like Trump's team deliberately targeting these people or if it's just a coincidence, or, if you commit sexual assault, it's a bad idea to accuse somebody else of it. But yeah, back in 2011, this billionaire guy apparently, I don't want to go into the description, did some pretty vile stuff to a woman. And, I got no sympathy for the guy if it's like ruining. I mean, he's a billionaire. I mean, he's not going to be wanting for money, but still. Ugh. I was just wondering if you also agree that there's like a trend that all of the leftists who seem to add Trump, a large percentage of them seem to be turning up to be sexual predators themselves.
Well, it kind of just seems like it's typical of the bed that they've made. I mean, like, there's a lot of these people who sided with the Australian Labor Party, and typically they're wrong all the time too. So these people coming out saying, look at what you did. Always, especially in the Labor Party, you always turn around and say, okay, so you've just mentioned that. What have you done in your past? What's the bet we'll find out you've done exactly what you're accusing this bloke of? And I'm not surprised too, because it always turns out that, yep, if they're accusing you of something, chances are they just admitted to doing it themselves.
That's true.
Oh, excuse me. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm just gonna be shouting into the echo chamber if I share my opinion, because I agree with both of you.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We can. I mean, you don't have to come up with deep insights. It's just, if you got anything unusual, feel free to chime in.
Yeah.
This one has always been particularly annoying to me. California bullet train costs soar to $77 billion and the opening is delayed. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but California had a brilliant plan to create a huge superhighway, 4 lanes, both sides, cloverleafs, whole 9 yards, unite the entire state and streamline their problems. There was a rejection to it for environmental reason, but it kind of turns out if you actually look under the hood, a lot of those rejections were, I paid a lot of money for my house and I don't want poor people in my neighborhood, and if you make transportation easy, they'll move here. So the idea of the California bullet train was created, the supersonic train, blah, 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 which is like currently now, I believe, like, I don't want to say it's 20 times more expensive than just fixing the road, which, by the way, the commuters get to drive by and see the partially finished highway all the time. But yeah, again, the price of this miracle train that's supposed to save the environment and so much stuff is costing $77 billion. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, anything that costs $77 billion as opposed to, I think it was like $2 or $3 billion, is not saving the environment. It's not. This is California's insanity, where they actively work against their own goals. So, any thoughts?
I mean, I 110% agree that a bullet train is a great idea, but like at this point, it's just insanity to think that anything good can come of it if it's been, delayed so much and the cost keeps going up.
Is Lockheed Martin building this thing?
No, I'll bet it's nothing but cronies. I believe this is just an excuse to funnel huge amounts of money to Democratic friends and just basically get a shovel and start shoveling the money out of the coffers of California to friends and family. And they damn well know the state's going to burn. They know.
It's definitely a pork barrel project.
I've got a slightly different perspective just on this specific subject alone. And Elon Musk will see your wacky idea and will raise you an even more wacky idea with his Hyperloop thing. He's supposed to create this vacuum tunnel that goes from California to San Francisco, or Los Angeles to San Francisco, sorry. It's supposed to take something like 20 minutes to do it, and it's supposed to run at like several times the speed of sound in a vacuum. Anybody who's got any structural engineering knowledge will already start to see a shit ton of glaring holes. Because like vacuums and stuff like that, and pressurized vessels and depressurized vessels suddenly change their pressurization, doesn't usually end well for anything that's anywhere near it. So and apparently Elon's going to get a whole bunch of universities to do all the R&D, research and development on this. And I'd put it to you that since he's made this dirty great big public announcement about it, he's even made a 1 mile long test track in California. All these Californian politicians and shit are going, well, geez, he's one-upping us with this. Well, we better do something to make it look like we're actually working. Bullet train, that'll do.
Oh, something like that. Although I will say this, Elon Musk, in the article, it talks about how Elon Musk's response to this cost jump is, quote, heavy sigh.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Drew, before we move on?
He's also the guy who tweeted out that his name was short for elongated muskrat. So,
Well, he's also the kind of person. He's also the kind of person too that, like, he'll just go heavy sigh, and then someone will say something stupid like, "Well, if you think you can do better, off you go," and he'll go, "All right."
He'll go, "Hey, here, hold my beer."
Yeah.
Here, hold my beer. I'm going to put my car in space.
Boilerplate? Why put just a piece of fucking... No, stick my car in there. That'll do. Well, you sure about that? Why not? Be a laugh.
I swear that's exactly why he did it, too. Someone's like, you won't. And he's like, watch me.
I honestly believe when it comes to California that we don't know exactly how bad it is. I think they're doing an amazing job of lying to everybody. I think that they're probably financially devastated. And the reason for this project's existence is nothing more than for the current Democrats to steal as much money as they can on the way out. I normally I'm not a conspiracy guy, but in this case, no. I see no other reason for this to exist. $77 billion. You could rebuild your entire highway system and the existing trains that work, like, for half the cost.
Yeah, it does seem though
you could,
like a lot of
Sorry, go ahead.
It does seem like a lot of politicians will just go ahead and do stuff. They'll stick their name on something, whether it'll work or not. It's another story. They just want their name on it, just so there'll be something with their legacy or something.
Well, moving on. Debate stirs over America's Harvest Box food benefit plan. Hawaii's food stamp administrator says he was stunned when he first heard of the U.S. Agriculture Department wanted to replace some cash benefits with pre-assembled package of shelf-stable goods. Why would we give people money to spend on food when we can give them food directly? That's their complaint. That like they want us, because I'll tell you this, I work with a lot of people who are on EBT cards, and they go and buy like 72 cans of Mountain Dew. Like, and I'm sitting there and saying, you know, I can't stop you from buying that, but you understand you're buying nothing but empty calories. And then they'll spend the next month like scrounging for food. It's like, you know, if you spend all the money on Mountain Dew on, I don't know, ramen noodles like I do, you wouldn't be starving. And yes, I buy the ramen noodles because, you know, money. It's the idea that you actually send them like a package of food to eat. Oh my God, the food might be bland. It'll keep you alive. And then you'll have food that we know you have as opposed to, you know, Mountain Dew. I'm just saying.
Well, I think I kind of actually can see where everybody's problem might sort of be stemming from. It's the shelf-stable goods kind of thing. Now, that screams ration pack food to me. The problem is, though, the US MREs and stuff like that, the ration pack food, all this stuff that's going in there now, all the shelf-stable stuff, is fucking good food. It's real good quality shit. It's like fucking top-notch.
Oh, yeah, I heard a lot of people slamming MREs until I saw one. I'm like, wait, you mean it comes with a chocolate bar? What the hell?
Well, chocolate bar or M&M's or pound cake.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, wow, that isn't sucky. That's actually isn't bad.
I mean, the pound cake isn't that great, but...
You should see the shit that we used to get in the Australian Army ration packs before they decided to start, you know, sort of making them a bit more efficient. But yeah, we used to get an Army chocolate ration. We'd have M&M's. We'd have boiled sweets. We'd have fucking chewing gum. All sorts of shit. Plus, there'd also be, like, you know, properly balanced meals that are in there that are, like, specifically designed to keep a normal person running at more than their normal rate.
Oh, yeah, the maximum caloric intake with the least possible amount of food.
Yeah, and they're designed, you can eat them anywhere. You know, in the largest majority of cases now, there's not even any dehydrated stuff because in most cases you have to carry extra water for that. So, yeah, it's like in the bag, ready to go, ready to eat, and it's good food too, and it's not shit.
I don't object to it on the principle that I've been watching people use EBT cards for a long time now, and they're killing themselves. And by law, I cannot stop them. So the idea that we will guarantee you get some food that is healthy for you, I mean, even if it is unhealthy and it's just maximum caloric intake, it's calories which they're all getting through soda.
Yeah, but like, there's also another underlying part about this that we've actually also experienced out here, and especially in our indigenous populations, and that is that if we arbitrarily give money, then we don't control over what they're spending it on. So they will go out and spend it on booze and drugs and everything else but food and whatever they need for their families. So they are trying to bring in this debit card system, and the biggest scream about the debit card system is they reckon that for some silly reason it just can't be worked. Now, the reason why it can't be worked is that people don't want it to work because they don't want to be restricted into what they can and can't do. They can't go into a tobacconist and use this card to buy cigarettes anymore. But that won't work anyway because in these small little country towns, you'll have the corner shop who has to deal with these people 24/7. And he will, sure, yep, I'll ring this up as a can of beans. There's your packet of cigarettes. That's how that will fail. And that's how it normally does fail. But if you give someone $5 for food, they'll probably spend it on something else. But if you gave them $5 worth of food, they've got the food. They're not hungry anymore.
I mean, I will admit there's going to be a certain percentage of the population that's going to turn around and sell it. But, you know, but then that's on them at that point. Like, you can't complain about everything because you had the food in your hands and you didn't eat it. All right. After that, that's your own issue. At any rate, anything else before we move on?
Well, that's another instance there too. And if they do try and restrict, like, you know, if you can't go into a shop and then buy something and have it written down as something else, then you will go off and you'll sell whatever you've got to go and get the cash to buy the cigarettes, or basically just steal it. Like, which will be unfortunate in most of these demographics that will be affected by this.
At any rate, yeah, I agree. Moving on here. This one, I have no idea how to read this one. Democrats pledge to limit superdelegates, but don't say how. I don't know if you guys know what a superdelegate is, but basically the way the Democrats have created the Democratic Party, you've got normal delegates and then you've got superdelegates. And if you actually read the entire charter, technically speaking, the Democratic Party could basically just ask just the superdelegates what to do, and they can, ignore everybody else. That never happens because it would cause a revolution in the party. Like, people would probably riot. But that said, that's the part where, the superdelegate, how about, here's a limitation for you. Get rid of them. They shouldn't exist at all.
I know how you can fix them. Anyone who says they're a super delegate, you take them to the top of the World Trade Center, you kick the cunt off. If he doesn't bloody fly, he's full of shit, and he shouldn't be a super delegate in the first place.
Good, interesting. Any thoughts, Drew?
I mean, I was going to say pretty much the same thing, but chuck them in the water, and if they float...
They're a witch. Burn them.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just love this. The DNC chairman, Tom Perez, insists the party will improve the democratic process before 2020. I just want to laugh. What empty words. Could you be any more vague? And things will improve, and there will be nice things. Things will end nicely.
You will see a dark stranger.
Note, he didn't say exactly how much it would improve. It can improve by 0.0001%, and he succeeded.
Or by whose perception it will improve.
Yeah, it will improve. We'll finally get rid of any pretense that you have any say in things, and we will rule over you because we are your superiors. That would be an improvement.
And also too, they don't define if it will improve and then de-improve drastically straight afterwards.
Yeah, I think the guy hits it on the head here, though. If we're going to win elections, you've got to earn the trust of the voters. And many voters have had a crisis of confidence in the Democratic Party. They perceive the DNC as putting their thumb on the scale, and it had a lot of negative consequences.
Well, they were kind of right about...
In further news, water wet.
Yeah, gravity still makes things fall.
Yeah, they were kind of right about putting thumb somewhere, but it wasn't against whatever they said it was. It was up their own asses.
That too.
Yeah, they were. But in some regards, at first I thought the DNC was absolutely insane, everything they did in the last election. But however, when I learned that basically the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative, was paying every single bill of the DNC, that's when I realized, wow, there isn't a DNC anymore. There is no DNC. There's just the Clintons.
The Clintons.
Pretty close. Anyway, moving on here. Forced to marry her rapist at 11. Woman finally changes Florida marriage law. Now this one, I'm kind of for. Basically, there was a weird law on the books that said if you get a woman pregnant, regardless of her age, the judge can decide to make you marry. So this 11-year-old got raped, got pregnant, and the judge said, you have to marry her. And she successfully managed to raise the minimum age to getting married to 17 in Florida. So I actually I'm for that. That makes sense to me. I thought that was a good thing. Any thoughts?
There's also an alternate version of that law as well. It's supposed to be a punishment for the actual rapist himself. Is that if you're accused of raping someone, you have to actually marry your victim. So you have to get stuck with the victim. Basically, that was the theory of it. Yeah.
Any thoughts, Drew?
I've got a whole lot of thoughts, but
nothing really relevant.
It's a stupid law. Who is it really punishing?
Well, at this point, it's handled in Florida. Just the fact that it existed, I think, is the issue.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like, who was that law really punishing in the end?
Well, I think it was
Well, it depends.
I think it was to allow judges to allow, you know, if you have like two, it was probably supposed to cover, oh, there's two kids who are 15 years old each. They had sex and got each other pregnant. The judge should be allowed to have them marry, because normally you couldn't get married until you were 16.
That's true.
But you know, the judge could decide it. You know, this law that they passed makes it so, period, end of statement, you have to be at least 17 to get married. And, well, I mean, these days with how many divorces there are, I think getting married before 17 is a really bad idea.
Could get him to learn early.
At any rate, moving on to the next one. Leftist celebrated my friend's death and made his grieving mother cancel the funeral.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else heard this one, but I saw this and I wanted to bash my head against the wall. Basically, there was a guy, he was a drug addict, but he was also a right-wing conservative and pro, you know, nationalism, et cetera, et cetera. And so he was pretty vocal against, you know, leftists in the area. And, well, he overdosed. And when he died, his friends knew he had no money, so they gathered together a couple $1,000s so his mom could have a funeral. And then the leftists started, just hounding her on social media. And so she canceled it because she didn't want there to be any issues. And I can kind of understand why she would cancel a public funeral if people were, I don't want to even justify by explaining what they say. But, yeah, I think that's pretty, I mean, it's I don't know. You remember, what was that hate group that would protest, veterans' funerals about God hates fags?
Oh, Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah, when the left starts looking like the Westboro Baptist Church, you have gone too far and are scum. When you and the Westboro Baptist Church look indistinguishable, you need to go home and look in the mirror. Thoughts?
Yeah. Let's take you back a few years, back into Baghdad for the resurgence, they called it. And the Yanks were having an awful fucking time trying to pin down these bastards, and they ended up succeeding. And it was very interesting on how they did. You see, when these jihadis would shoot a local, the locals would go to bury them, and then the jihadis would start picking people off at the funerals. Well, this really pissed the locals off, because now they can't even bury their dead in peace. So it turns out that the point of a waggling finger from an old lady turned out to be way more effective than the millions of dollars and all the tons of hardware and technology that the Yanks had. Fucking these cunts want to start fucking picking on cunts' funerals, then I'd hate to be fucking you.
Thoughts before we move on, Drew? What more is to say?
A funeral. I'm at a loss for words on that.
Look, I'm all for free speech, and I would never want to stop them from their right to say the things they do. And the reason why is so that I know how stupid they are and who's an idiot. No better way to find that out by letting my enemy, never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Oh, well, just real quick though on this, this is a classic example of the reason why there used to be a punching people for being fucking stupid rule. Instances like this, people should learn of their stupidity through very, very vigorous and violent physical means.
Now, this is a weird. The actual article itself is not really what I want to talk about, but I'm going to bring it up first because it raises a point. Missouri Governor lauds plan for new aluminum smelter. New aluminum smelter will be opened in the Missouri Boot Heel region in May, replacing roughly half the jobs lost when another smelter was shut down 2 years ago. Now, this is a recurring theme. This is just the latest example that I found where Trump is beginning his, war on trade. And there's other articles where Trump's trade war may destroy a fragile world economy and all this other crap. But you know what I'm seeing when I actually look at what business is doing? Business is doing a little happy dance, and then they're reopening plants that they closed. Or new people are going, hey, there's a perfectly good plant over there with a lot of trained workers nearby. I will reopen it now because I can make a profit now. I don't think his war on trade is all that bad. I don't know about you guys. Thoughts?
Well, it's definitely not bad. I mean, it's benefiting the Yanks, and well, fucking, isn't that what he said at the beginning too? He was going to create jobs and get people working again, and all this. Like, why is everyone complaining that a politician didn't lie?
Because people like to complain, just
Yeah,
regardless.
I think
they're called English people, though.
I think that the focus has been on Trump's war on trade will threaten a fragile world economy. They don't say it will threaten the American economy. They say it'll threaten the world economy. And my question is, why are we worried about the rest of the world? Like, if we're propping up the rest of the world's economy, that's not good. They need to prop up their own economy. And if we're holding them up, that's bad. You know.
Plus, China's holding us up right now, so we shouldn't be holding anyone up.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Where the hell were all these fuckers when China did exactly what Trump wants to do now?
Yeah, so I mean, in my opinion, power to him. Good luck, and he seems. I mean, well, actually, you know what? I don't think I've got a specific article for it, so I'm going to bring it up now. Who's been hearing about how Trump's blaming violent video games?
Oh, Jesus! What is this? 2008?
Yeah, vaguely, and I ignored it.
Okay, I'm just going to say it right here just so we can go through it real simple because everybody knows the argument and everybody knows what's going on here. Past 25 years, video games have gotten bigger, better, faster, more violent, more realistic, and worse by any of the definitions of 2008 when the whole claim started with tip and gore and whatever about how violent video games make violent people. If that is the case, then shouldn't there be more violence? When in actuality in America, we're at an all-time low. I mean, we're at like 1950s level gun violence. As bad as it is in certain parts of America, gun violence, all sorts of violence are way down. So if there's more video games and there's more people, shouldn't there be more violence? So Donald Trump, I'm more than happy to call him up when he's an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, Grandpa. Shut the hell up. There's nothing wrong with violent video games. Stop attacking him. I hope this is some weird four-dimensional chess bullshit, but I don't think it is. I think he's just being an idiot this time. And any thoughts on that before we move on?
Oh, I've literally written papers on this.
It's been my experience recently.
Sorry.
It's been my experience recently that video games aren't actually the ones that have actually got gamers killed. It's the police that have got gamers killed.
Swatting.
Mm.
Yeah, that's true.
But I've literally written collegiate psychological level, psychological collegiate level papers on whether violence in video games makes you a violent person. And yes, it does stimulate that portion of your brain. But if you had no inkling to act on violent thoughts before, it has no effect whatsoever. And any paper that says otherwise is bullshit and should be discredited.
I mean, there might be some, but I think there's also the cathartic effect, which counteracts anything of that. So I think in the end, it's a push.
That's also a factor as well. But any study who says definitively that violence in video games causes people to act violently doesn't know what they're talking about or is being paid to say that.
1 second.
I'm wondering if it's someone who saw things like what the Russians were doing or supposedly doing to the KGB spies, but desensitizing them and shit like that. Like, you know, the stories of getting them to shoot their parents and stuff like that. And I'm just wondering if someone's heard those stories and went, well, if the Russians were doing similar stuff in video games and put 2 and 2 together and got 21.
Oh, also, I don't know if you have anything on this or not for tonight, but did you guys hear how Russia was trying to influence the 2016 election through flash games?
No, I missed that. Like, does
that was
anybody
a legitimate
actually
news story?
Does anybody actually play flash games?
I do.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
Everybody who plays flash games basically doesn't have any effect on reality or the rest of the world. They're usually like secretaries and office workers and shit like that.
There's a couple of very good Flash games actually.
Oh, I'm sure there are, like, you know, statistically
And I've been playing
speaking.
them since like 2006.
Oh, I will admit there was this one about how you're trying to get a virus to kill everybody on the planet. That was an interesting Flash game.
Oh, Pandemic 2?
Yeah, and then somebody did a Flash game of the old Aliens board game. That was fun.
Oh man.
Not Aliens, the board game. I love that. That was awesome. That was very well made. Anyway, moving on.
Unfortunately, I never got to play the game, but I know of it.
Anyway, moving on here. We've got, and this one is just one of those wah-ha moments. Oxford Associate Professor of Political Theory tweeted a photograph writing, Oxford security makes a woman cleaner scrub out the words Happy International Women's Day on the Clareton steps. What an image. Hi, that woman was, by definition, one of the janitors, and somebody's got to clean that crap up. So
I like the cognitive dissonance that seems to think that Oxford could do with graffiti all over it.
Yeah, it's like only a man should be erasing Happy International Women's Day. I cannot.
No, they're the same people who'd be pissed off if it was a man scrubbing it out. So I don't see what the big deal is. Personally,
because a woman can do it just as good, eh?
Well, no, the female cleaner was forced to scrub it out. She had no choice because, you know, she accepted the job.
Because patriarchy.
The job. That's where I'm at. That's right.
I can just see, like, you know, this woman regaling this story about how this goose-stepping, jack-booted Nazi fucking security guard, all 19 fucking foot tall of him, was standing over this poor little woman as she groveled, you know, scrubbed away like the poor little peasant she was, and he turned his dirty, great big assault rifle at her head and said, "Keep scrubbing, you bitch."
Although some of the responses I like this one. Did you ask her permission before posting it? You, a middle-class female academic, might think it's degrading to be a cleaner, but it's her job. Example of middle-class feminism trying to perpetuate the idea that women are victims and using poorer women as mere props to do so. Yeah, I mean, because that's what it is. This is some hoity-toity leftist bullshit feminist who is degrading somebody else who's got a legitimate job, who's going out and doing her job and saying, oh, this is so shameful that she's working. What's the shame here? Because the protest was over. They left their shit behind, their graffiti behind, and somebody has to clean up your feminist crap that you leave everywhere.
Also, never mind, that's off topic.
Anyway, moving on, but this one was by request. U.S. prosecutors won't take on small-time pot cases, which the reason why I'm bringing it up is I have a cat that was on some very serious medication that was making him very ill, but if we took him off it, he would start to have seizures, and his health was pretty bad. And then somebody said, try pot. And I'm like, seriously? He said, yep, try marijuana. And we've been giving him marijuana pills. He has not had any of the weird side effects, and he hasn't had a seizure in, knocking on wood, like 2 years now. So one thing that's always been a little disturbing was, oh my God, what if they changed the laws? But apparently I like this, that U.S. prosecutors won't take on small-time pot cases. So if you're one of these people like saying, I'm using a little bit of pot and I'm worried about the federal, it's okay in my state, but the federal government, no. Federal government doesn't give a crap about anybody who's like a nobody using some pot. So I just thought it was something that I wanted to bring up as a note. Any thoughts on this?
Oh, it's a step. Users, it's a good idea. It's a good idea because it's like, yeah, you got some dude who's got fucking $20 worth of fucking weed, right? You're now going to spend $15,000 putting him through the courts just to give him a slap on the wrist.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it's a good step forward towards decriminalization anyway.
Yeah, well, one, I think it should be decriminalized. Not because I like the drug. I actually think it's a dumb drug because taking the drug typically makes you dumber. But that said, if you want to do that, You know, if I gotta say it's okay to drink alcohol, then there's no reason to say it's okay to smoke marijuana. But that all said, there.
I mean, I can say from my personal experience, at least with my situation, it helps calm my brain down because my brain's constantly running at 10 billion miles an hour.
Oh no, I understand what you're talking about. Like, and there's other drugs that can do that, but they have different side effects.
Well,
and I'll be the first one to say, damn, it is. I'm afraid of them making pot illegal in my state, which will never happen because it's New York. But if it ever did, my cat's health will suffer for it. Like, it has literal great medical benefits. You know, I don't think it should be used recreationally, but for medical reasons, oh, I'm all for it. But that all said, there, I think that also we have a big problem of we're putting way too many poor people in jail in America. We need to decriminalize a lot of these drugs, not because the drugs are good, but because we're putting way too many people in jail. We need to reduce the penalties for these drug offenses at the very least, because when 1% of when you have more people in jail per capita than China, you're not doing good. Okay, and that's us. We have way too many people in jail.
So much for the land of the free.
Any thoughts before moving on?
Yeah, land of the free, China.
I mean, I fully support what they're doing because it does help keep people out of prison, but the prison corporations are not gonna go for it.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a tooth and nail fight. Yeah, because there's profit in human misery, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Speaking
of, as a medic, I can totally get on board with the whole yes. There are some medicinal purposes to marijuana and all this kind of stuff. The only problem is when you do have a substance that is hard to get a hold of or illicit or something like that you can get from an excuse, all of a sudden everybody has that excuse. That South Park episode literally does, it already has come true in a lot of places where you'd still need a medical card to get it, where all of a sudden everybody's instantly got the sickness that needs the marijuana.
Oh, I'm with you 100%. And I agree about the topic. It's just, I don't have the solution. All right, but I think that in general, we should do baby steps, whatever we're going to do. Any rate, moving on here. South African Parliament votes to seize land owned by all white farmers. On Tuesday, in South Africa, a shocking vote in the National Assembly ruled that white South African farmers will be removed from their land. The vote, prompted by a motion brought about by radical Marxist opposition leader Julius Malema, was not even close. 241 legislators for and only 83 against. Now, for those of you who don't know, this thing was tried before in a number of other African countries, and each and every one of those countries is now to put it in the words of the great God Emperor Donald Trump himself, a shithole. In fact, some of the states, I believe it's Rwanda, is actually going, dear white farmers, please come back. We don't know how to farm. Their country is, I have, well, not directly, but I know somebody who knows somebody in South Africa who's been telling me about the place, and holy fuck, that place is already turned into a shithole. I mean, there was a time where South Africa was probably along the lines of, you'd think you were in America. But from what I've been hearing, it's like turning into a shithole. And this is not going to help at all. This is going to be a final nail in the coffin. And there's probably going to be a war. I mean, I don't know if this has been finalized. I think while it has been voted for, I think it's being stymied somewhere from what I saw. But I don't know how this will be stopped. And once they show up at the 2.4 million white farmers, you're not going to get them to just calmly walk away.
No, they're not. This is going to end in a bloodbath, and the big concern that this is basically the removal by force aspect hasn't actually been defined in any way, and everybody knows that being worded in the way that it is now will dictate that fucking these Africans are going to basically go into these white farms, shoot the farmer through the head before they'll even say anything, and say, right, we've got our land back.
Yeah, the irony is, though, I don't believe any of the black people who are there actually, any of their ancestors actually lived on the in that area.
No.
Because the
No,
South
but
Africa
there are-
area was a swamp and a shithole when the white people showed up, and they made it livable, and then Africans moved into the area. So technically speaking, as far as settling goes, the white people were there first.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, like the Zulu Nation and all that kind of stuff. They had inhabited that joint well.
Well,
before,
they didn't.
white
They
people came
when you
around.
look at their territory, they didn't exactly go all the way to the shore. And the white people, they stuck along the shore. Now, I'm not saying all of South Africa currently was settled by white people, but the parts that have all the cities in it, that has all the good stuff, that's where the white people settled.
Mm.
So
Yeah, well, they've also settled out in the countryside, and like the whole thing with the white farmers has been going on for decades. It's all part of that bloody fucking, what was it called, apartheid.
yeah,
Back in the 70s and 80s. But yeah, Africa is like never really been South Africa has never really been a very stable country anyways. Just take about 15 years ago, I used to know a bloke called Joel Leibowitz, and he ran this company called the Kit Group, and they're a security supply company based in South Africa. And he was telling me at that time they had just over 5 million security people. That's just the security, not the cops. Security guards in South Africa. And you could even break it down as to basically there's 2 million of them are white and 3 million of them are black. And the only reason why that part's of any interest of the story is that he had the African accent, and I was saying, please say blick, please say blick. And he goes, the other 3 million are blick. Like, he said blick.
okay,
Lethal Weapon reference.
gotcha.
You blick.
This is going to end very badly.
Oh, yeah.
And and even if the black rulers win and get their way and kill every white person, only 24% of their population are farmers. You think they're just going to be able to move over and take over everything else? Because you know that the black leadership is not going to say, okay, we're going to find the most competent and best people to hand this land over so they can manage it. No, they're going to hand it over to their friends, their families, their cronies. And it's going to, like every time Marxists take over, it will be managed into the ground. You are looking at the beginning of the end. This is going to make Venezuela look like paradise.
Oh, yeah, and have you seen what South Africa's parliament's like?
No, but I can only imagine.
Fist fights are a regular thing.
I did not know that. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're freaking barbaric.
Yeah, they regularly have entire political parties being removed from parliament because they're being belligerent.
You want to know something? This is all I got to say. South Africa, stop making Spencer right, okay? That guy, the guy who got punched in the face, the guy who's an actual, like, white nationalist, stop justifying him. Thank you. Anyway, shall we move on?
Mm-hmm.
This one's covers one thing, but, it's covering two topics, really. Trump believes North Korea will keep word on missile tests. Now, if you're not aware, Trump has actually gotten some sort of vague agreement that in May he is going to sit down with Kim Jong-un, or whatever his name is, and they are going to finally...
You mean Psy?
Yeah, Psy. Open Gundam style. Missile, sorry. Yeah, he's going to sit down with them, and they're going to finally work things out. The odd thing about all of this is I don't know if you've been following the news, but South Korea has basically turned into Mr. Appeasement. And for some reason, they want the U.S. to leave because it thinks it'll make it safer now. Let's face facts here. If the U.S. up and left out of South Korea, North Korea would roll over them.
No.
No, if we took out every American troop and all of our equipment like they wanted us to, South Korea really doesn't have the manpower. They
got the quality of strength and training. They've got the same advantage as what we do. We don't have to have 1,000 guys on the ground because we've got one guy that can take on 1,000 blokes.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree because I'm not sure. Like, I definitely think that North Korea would try something if America wasn't sitting there on the border. But that's neither here nor there.
this is actually what is happening at the moment, and there was this hint that fucking Kim was going to be different to his dad and would probably try to make nice with the West. Now he's also like Kim's also been restricted from doing this because the instant he looks like he's going to be weak, he's going to get overthrown by his generals. The instant that happens, the Chinese are coming in to secure all of North Korea's heavy weapons, and then it's on for young and old. But he's been looking for a way, and now with North Korea sending a team to the south, you watch the story will be around the north. It's not Kim breaking down and submitting to the west. It's some bullshit stories occurred that fucking now they can start talking and they will start negotiating and things will start de-escalating now, and they're using the Olympics and what we're seeing right now happening as an excuse to, oh well, yeah, this fundamental thing has changed, so now we can talk. And I'm betting that's probably how this is going to go from now on.
There was a part of me that always wondered if, like, North Korea wanted to talk, but for some reason, politically inside their own domain, they couldn't pull it off. And
Yeah.
oddly enough, I was saying to myself, you know what? Donald Trump might be sounding like a bombastic blowhard, but maybe that's exactly what he needs to do to give the moderates in North Korea the edge to say, look, they're absolutely insane. That new guy's crazy. We should talk to him. We should try and, work things out. I'm hoping that's the case. But I do like what Trump said when he mentioned it to a crowd. The crowd started booing as soon as he said Kim Jong's name, but Trump said, no, it's very positive. No, after the meeting, you may want to do that, but now we have to be very nice because let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. And you know what?
This is a huge song and dance just to play nice. This is a huge song and dance. It's a play for everybody. This is that fucking, they're wheeling Oprah out to solve the Korean Peninsula problem.
You want to know something? If Donald Trump solves North Korea, he deserves a goddamn Nobel Peace Prize. I have no respect for the Nobel Peace Prize after they gave it to Obama, but damn. I'd be like, you know what? That alone is worth it. Like all the crazy stuff he does. But thoughts on this before we move on?
I mean, I have a thought. It's sort of unrelated, but they gave the guy who invented the door knocker a Nobel Prize.
You do have a point. Moving on. I don't know a lot about that one with the UK book lover. Did you want to talk about that, Fardy, or should we skip it?
Oh, I only just brought that up because, like, it was just a bullshit story. Like, she only made that up just so she could have I one-upped somebody. Yeah, no, you didn't.
All right, then let's move on to something more serious because I got 4. I don't want to stretch this out with too much fluff. Moving on to UK police and the nerve agent attack. Now, I don't know if anybody's heard about this one, but there was a ex-Russian spy and his daughter, I think, or something like that, who was attacked with nerve agents. Dun, dun, dun. And there was over 200 witnesses to the attack, but it's too early to tell who did it.
Interesting what the Russians have been saying since. Don't go to London. Lots of very bad things seem to be happening to people from Russia and London lately. Yes, not very advisable. Go to London. No, don't do that.
And we had nothing to do with it, though. No. The Russia completely denies. The problem is that there's a chance that they didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, we don't have enough information yet, but I thought it was worth bringing up here. I do know that I have seen at least one person go completely ballistic saying, see, Russia is interfering with everything and they're trying to kill their ex-spies so they can't reveal information. No.
Tying up loose ends.
I don't know. Personally, I don't know why this ex-spy would want to get killed. I mean, he's been like an ex-spy for a really long time. If he was going to, spill a lot of stuff, the former double agent had plenty of time to do it. Or maybe it's along the lines of Russia has a long-standing policy of, if you're a double agent, we will find you and kill you no matter what, just so nobody else gets any ideas.
Well, that's one part of it as a deterrent, but there's also another part of it where you can know something and be so safely sitting on it for decades and decades and decades, and all of a sudden one person can come out of nowhere and be, right, that information is still fucking dental to me and I don't trust you, so you're gone. But it's not unusual for Russia to assassinate their former peoples in London, particularly. There was a ricin attack in the 70s with another former Russian spy. He got injected in the leg from an air gun in an umbrella.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was James Bond.
Yeah, well, that was James Bond era. That was like London, fucking Aston Martin's, fucking that era. Then there was one about 7 years ago now, where another Russian, I think he was either a former agent or a fucking politician or something like that, where they poisoned him with polonium.
Oh yeah, 2006. If I'm a Russian double agent or ex-agent or anything spy related to Russia, I'm not going to London. Hell, I wouldn't even go to the UK. I would like move out to a shack in the middle of like the Yukon.
Siberia.
Well, even the Russians are saying don't go to London.
It's just. I mean, we don't have the facts yet as to what's going on, but there is a definite, as you pointed out, there's a trend of, the Russians getting their former KGB agents. So yeah, I just thought it was something worth talking about.
Yeah, I bet you $10 though. It'd probably be something that he knew that he was safe up until now for some reason.
Hold on to your hats. UNESCO, which I believe is some division of the United Nations body, has released a statement earlier today that revealed that the UNESCO has partnered with the International Peace Foundation to study all religions of the world to find out which was the most peaceful amongst all. And after 6 months of vigorous study and analysis, we have concluded that Islam is the most peaceful religion.
Yeah, well,
trying to keep a straight face.
These are also the same people who evacuated all but 500 fucking UN peacekeepers from Rwanda because they said that place was all safe and all groovy too.
Terror has no religion. Islam means peace. Order through vigilance, decency through purification.
Have you actually studied Islam at all if you say that, though? Or if you can seriously say that?
I just...
Well, yeah. I've studied the Quran. I've studied its tensile strength, its water absorbability, and how much shit it can scrape off my ass. That's about all I know about Islam, though.
Here's the crazy thing, and this isn't bullshit. You know those little joke certificates you get at a job for completing a course or something from HR? They actually made a certificate of peace that says, on the 4th day of July, 2016, we declare that Islam is the most peaceful religion of the world. And it's got the little United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization stamp. It's like...
Yeah, well, I like it how it took them 2 years to grow the balls to tell us all about it.
And I love how the Muslims come back and say, well, we appreciate it, but it's not needed as Islam is already the best and final religion, and this certificate just trivializes the issue as it states the obvious.
Hang on. I just done a quick Google search, and I've actually got some audio from the meeting, how they came to this conclusion. So, Mr. Arab man, you're peaceful, right? And you don't hurt anybody in your religion, right? Okay. Well, here's this lovely certificate. Mars Attacks reference.
I don't know. Thoughts, Drew, before we move on?
This is another one of those, there's so many things I want to say and not nearly enough time to say it.
I think
I can't even... I don't even know where to start. Yeah.
Too many words.
Guys, I went full white girl again. I just can't even.
Yeah, it's too many words that are coming out at the same time.
I need my Starbucks.
Just can't handle it.
No, I agree with Jacob's sentiment right there. They're also the most feminist religion.
Hey, yeah. Hey, women should support Islam. Women should support Islam. Yeah, in Islam, women get stoned all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Are we sure this isn't just some illiterate fuck who doesn't like a person called Vanessa White? So poor Canada, I do not know the rest. Well, yeah, that's true too, because every time I meet a Canadian, they can't stop singing the first fucking line from their bloody national anthem. It's like, how do you know there's a Canadian in the room? Just shut up for a sec. Oh, Canada. There he is.
Just say hockey sucks.
Mm. Oh, yeah, the feminists wouldn't go near hockey because it's too violent. The big nasty men might hurt us. Ugh, get rid of them, patriarchy.
Yeah. And Chernobyl was a tiny meltdown.
Mm. They had a fart. Chernobyl farted. No. See, the
Racist
thing
is racist just means you're white to them.
no, well, see, the thing about fucking stupid people is they're too fucking stupid to realize they're fucking stupid. And even when they're fucking told they're fucking stupid by fucking smart people, they're too fucking stupid to fucking realize the other fuckwit's right. So, fucking, that's what they've got here. Immensely stupid people who are too fucking stupid to realize that they're fucking hypocritically stupid.
Can somebody like isolate that audio and just give us a fuck counter?
Oh, I can give you tons of videos you get a better fuck counter out of. I've actually had that. Have someone come up, like, I've had a couple of people, like viewers, go, oh, geez, how many fucks are in that? So count them, and they come back with a couple, like, oh, it's 200 and something in this one. So here, well, check this one. Tell me how many's in that one. Yeah. Shut them all. Mm. Yep. It's an unfortunate side effect from that. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'd kind of like to see a bit more into this too, because as you know, I'm getting nowhere with the mental health services down where I'm at, and this happens a hell of a lot. This is nothing new. The blokes going off the reservation, fucking because they've been overseas. That happens quite a lot, and we should be on the ball about this a lot more. So he got kicked off his got kicked out of the program. Well, how did he get kicked out of the program, and what did they do for him after that? They just kick him out in the street and just hope for the fucking best, because that's a fucking stupid thing to do. Yeah, and it sounds like then the Sheila that runs the bloody hospital up here's part-time and over in California too. Mm. 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 Well, I really hope that when you put it that way, I really hope it's not a case of like what a lot of school teachers do, which is with that, like he wasn't getting with the program. Don't bother trying a different route to try and see if something else will work for him. It's sort of like with school teachers. They'll say, little Johnny, spell this word. You can't? Well, fuck off at the back of the class and don't annoy the smart kids. Like, okay, you're not learning this. Okay, how can I get you to learn? I mean, after all, that's your job as an instructor, and like with the counselors and all that kind of stuff, it's your job to counsel and get these people to work through their problems and all that. And if the first thing you've been taught that you're doing is not correct, then you should try something else and try something else. And if you can't succeed in your job, well, that's not a failing on the individual you're trying to work with. It's your job to do that for that person. If you can't do that for that person, can't figure out a way, then that's a failing on you and your job, not the other way around. Like, and yeah, like I see a lot. None of the blame does get put on to a lot of people who do fail people with mental health disorders like this too. They just get to go on like, oh, that happened. Oh, too bad. Oh well.
I mean, again, I don't even know where to start, but like I do agree that we need to put more of an emphasis on like actually studying the human mind instead of just writing it off as, oh well, I mean it's the human brain and there's no way we can understand it. Like 40 or 50 years ago, there's no way we could have understood microchips. So don't give me that we can't understand it, because we're obviously just not trying hard enough.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Cover up.
Mm-hmm. It's a. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Drew did mention something that I totally agree with, and well, I just completely forgot it, so disregard that. He did say something I agree with though.
Hey, nah, the only thing I really had to bring up that wasn't already mentioned was the Flash game thing. So I just thought that was a neat little tidbit I noticed on the news, and that people were actually taking it seriously.
Hmm.
Well, okay, yeah, the traditional media was taking it seriously.
They've been trolled by 4chan again. Hmm. Hmm. Yep. Well, they can't. They've been going broke for ages. They've been hemorrhaging money. That's the whole thing of this bloody adpocalypse and all this shit on YouTube. Is they're trying to screw everybody over because they can't afford to pay us anymore. Mm-hmm. Technically, you kind of do because the National Warning Broadcast System is something that is one of those things that the government needs to maintain. Even with outdated technology, you'll probably be shocked to learn that you can still get your government warnings by fax.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they still have a fax line service for those people who still run fax machines, and you can still run fax machines.
BRB buying a fax machine.
Yeah, so like free to air TV and all this kind of stuff, there'll still be a government grant for them in some form or fashion because under that emergency broadcasting thing, there is a need for them to still be around. Whether they're still useful or not is another story. But yeah,
Oh wow, fax machines are pretty cheap now.
yeah, you'll probably find the paper's really cheap for it as well.
Like brand new, you can get one for $50.
Yeah, Mr. Fax. Mm, Plot thickens. Yeah, it's the Russians.
The Russians are trying to influence the 2016 election, messing up our Discord. I had fun.
I like it. I'd laugh if in 2016 they finally give Hillary Clinton the presidency of the United States just to fucking be snide.
And she's still alive out of spite. She'd pull a Walt Disney. She'd pull a Walt Disney and have herself frozen in cryo.
No. In 2016, she'll be there in a big dark cloak, and as the votes are being counted, she'll be going, good. Let the hate flow.
Oh, has my microphone been cutting out? Oh, damn. I'm sorry. I didn't realize people weren't hearing me. Odd. Sorry about that. Anyway, yes, I am here. I guess the technical difficulties haven't completely gone away. So, summing it up here, it's been real and it's been fun. Not sure if it's been real fun. I'm not sure how much I got cut out of there. So, well, I guess we'll hear on the playback. So, thanks for stopping by. Saint of Bacon, not familiar with you. Hey, if you ever, by the way, ever want to jump on and join the chat, like on a week or something. I don't know if we're doing anything tomorrow because I've been kind of leery and testing everything, but I'd like to get back to doing the Eldritch topics again if I get a chance. And so if I think it's stable, we're going to try a one topic, one discussion tomorrow and see what happens. At any rate, nothing for the last 10 minutes. God damn it. I had a great rant there. At any rate, that's how we roll here. Everything sucks. Moving on. Oh, hey, Prince of Queens. Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was talking to him last night. You know, I'd love to have him on. If nothing else, I'd like to just pick his brain for a bit. We don't even need any topics. We just need to just sit him down and let him rant. At any rate.
Saint of Bacon. He's people. He's bacon. He scares the shit out of Muslims.
Bacon is people. Is people. All right, want everybody to. All right.
People are coming.
Welcome to the Soylent Green Corporation meeting of the board members. We're here to announce our new slogan. Okay, everybody ready? Here it is. Soylent Green is people. That's our new motto. How do you think it works as a slogan? Soylent Green is people.
What do you think I did the first time I found out that they were actually a product called Soylent?
Oh, God, yes. I actually want to try that thing.
Some of my Twitch streamer friends are sponsored by them.
I know. He's a typical sales rant for you. Soylent Green. It's people. Made for people. By people. From people.
From people.
His people.
We are
people.
Like
from
on the
people.
same page
for
tonight.
people. Oh, that's awesome.
Muzo gave him the name. Gave him the idea for the name.
Honestly, though, I will say this. A lot of the Muslims that I know are pretty nice people. Okay, and I know a couple, but they often go, what the hell are you letting in these assholes? Those are the guys I was left to avoid.
Yeah, but of course Muslims have got a better sense of humor than feminists. They find beating women funny. Okay, too soon?
Too soon. Anyway, if nothing else, we'll wrap it up here at midnight. So, hey, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. And as always, if you need any help getting your own channel off the ground, give us a call. We'll see what we can do to help you out. I know a bunch of people, and we can always help hook you up with others. And if you got any topics or anything you want me to bring up, just send me something in the comments, and I'll find it, and we'll add it on the roster for next week. At any rate, it's been real. It's been fun. I think it's been fun. We'll talk to you later. It's only midnight in a fake time zone. Oh, that's right. By the way, daylight savings time. Get ready to move your clocks ahead an hour, unless you're not in America, in which case don't worry about it. Any final comments?